Reddit, what was the worst thing you did as a horny teen? NSFW. My parents were worried I had sleep apnea. They scheduled a sleep study for me. They hooked me up to all these sensors and told me not to roll over too much. The nurse administering the sleep study was really fucking hot, and I could see her through the glass in the other room while I was supposed to be sleeping. She was talking to another nurse and they were laughing and joking. I couldn't hear them, but oh my god, she was unbelievable to look at. So I rubbed one out. Had no idea they could tell by reading data from those sensors. Them explaining the readings to my parents was really awkward. Had sex with my then GF in the elevator of my high school. Since I'm wheelchair bound, I took her on the elevator with me a couple of times. One day we just decided to push the emergency stop button. Good thing the alarm was not working at the time. Wheelie? She joked. Yes. Really? Just roll with it. She pushed my chair into the elevator. It was the first tight fit of the hour. Going down? I winked. She laughed and pressed the button for the ground floor. After a few seconds she reached for the stop button. This was it. The elevator grinded quickly to a halt. No alarm. We were dead in the water, and rigor mortis was definitely setting in. She jumped on top of me, biting and kissing, the confined space giving us a false sense of intimacy. There were no words exchanged for the next 10 minutes as we traded pleasure like two angry spice salesmen haggling, each of us sure we were giving the better offer and refusing to back down. Finally, we were spent. She straightened her hair, closed her shirt over and smiled at me. Was it good for you? The elevator started up again with a quick push of a button. So good I can't even feel my legs. I used to steal panties. Every chance I had to sneak off to some girl's room and grab a quick thong, I hopped on that shit. I plundered the drawers of middle school girlfriends, daughters of family friends, and friends' sisters. I still see some of those people, and I'll think about how close I sometimes came to being caught. Me, heterosexual male, and couple of my friends went out one snowy night at age 13 and met a snowman with a huge penis. We all sucked his snow penis for about 10 minutes. We all got horribly sick and had to stay home from school for a week. My friend and I, both 17, double-teamed a girl at a sleepover. The sad part is that my other friend asked her out the next day. Story time. So it's my friend's birthday. Let's call him Bob. So Bob invites all the usual people. But Bob's sister invited her friend. So the party continues and I start talking to this girl. It turns out she likes me. I, being the player I am, go to my friend and say, I'm in the dog. Party ends. It's Bob, Bob's sister, Bob's sister's friend, my other friend and me. We are sitting on the couch, I playing with the girl, and Bob goes to bed. It's just my friend, the girl and me. My friend then starts to fill her up. I'm sporting full cub. I take the back and he takes the front. 20 minutes later we are both done, go to bed and get up. It turns out Bob asked out the girl. To this day Bob never know what happened that night. I was on the bus to a youth church conference. FWB was in the same seat. It was like a 20-hour drive, so a lot of the bus was asleep. Well, she throws a blanket over us and goes to town with her hand. I start getting close and say I'd quit, we are going to clean it up with, to which she responds, don't worry about it, just let me know when. Somewhat confused, a few seconds later I tell her now. Her head disappears under the blanket. And that is how I found heaven. Edit, highest comment ever, and it's about teenage sexcapades with a church girl and on my alternate account. Fucking figures. Edit 2, I must spend too much time on r, sex FWB equals friends with benefits. Also, just got back after a day, responded to 0708 comment, waiting on clarification from them. One day I got really horny after masturbating several times in a day. I would masturbate over literally anything I saw on the TV. I mean infomercials, Sailor Moon episodes, paused videotapes where boob was semi-shown, anything. Cut a long story short, I ended up trying to jack off to Rugrats because that's all that was on TV at the time. I didn't finish. In my mind it comes down to one or two things that I can think of. In my 8th grade Spanish class, everybody was kind of paired off with their desks, and I sat next to this one girl who I only really knew because of her boyfriend. We started talking some and it got kind of flirty, and I decided one day I would just whip out my dick. So I did that during class. I then proceeded to beat one off for her while the teacher was going on about one thing or another. That was an oddly invigorating experience. This one isn't completely the worst thing I did, but in 9th grade, my girlfriend at the time gave me a blowjob this public second-floor balcony that people used to enter and exit the second floor of the building. Underneath this balcony was a restaurant, and being that it was midday, people were at the restaurant. I guess it was hard to tell when I would have finished because she was completely flabbergasted when I came in her mouth. She ended up going to the edge of the balcony and spitting it down to the restaurant seating below. We heard someone shout something up at us, but we bolted back inside before anything could happen. Definitely not some of my finer moments, but who hasn't been there? I superglued a golf ball to the bottom of my testicles to see what having 3 balls would feel like. Imagine my horror when I realized how fucking strong superglue binds to skin. Spent an hour carefully peeling before I just said fuck it and poured acetone all over it. That was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. Had sex with my younger brother 9 and sister 10 on my bed. We were all watching a movie, and I just kind of wriggled my pants down and my boyfriend entered me from behind and went slow. I don't remember anymore if he finished or not. Edit. Yes, I realize now how horribly I phrased this. Please forgive me, I am new to Reddit. Sex with boyfriend only. My BF and I scrounged up enough money for an hour at the local motel. Soon after, we realized I locked the keys in the car. We had no money and couldn't call anyone, so we broke a window out. Played dumb the next day when my parents saw my window. You can totally get into a locked car with one of those door wedges and a coat hanger. You just use the door wedge to pry the top of the door open and then use the coat hanger to press the unlock button. Back in the day, if your parents were home, there was nowhere in this town where you could bang. The cops patrolled every dead-end street and every nearly empty parking lot. So I got the bright idea to pull my car alongside other cars at a dealership lot and use that as a spot to bang in plain sight. Never got caught, but if they were checking the cameras, someone saw a lot. Got caught in the dark end of the school parking lot once. I have no idea how long the cop was sitting there. He suddenly just turned on his spotlight and my girlfriend popped right up. I'm pretty sure the cop got a full view of her tits cause he let us off after asking her to step out of the car to ask if she wanted to be there. It was awkward, but me and her started joking and laughing about it from the get-go. One thing I remember the cop asking me is, what made you choose the school parking lot? And I just said, cause it's dark. Used a can of dry shampoo to masturbate with. Only I used the capped end. The lid came off and got stuck in my vag. Took ages to get it out as the edges of the cap were stuck behind the opening. I bled a little. That sounds funny and awful. However, at the first sentence I was trying to figure out how I could whack it, penis, with dry shampoo. Ha ha. Fucked a banana peel wrapped in duct tape. Then I flushed it down the toilet and it actually got stuck. Naturally I was horrified that it would come back up as my dad was sitting there plunging the toilet trying to figure out why it was blocked up. Thankfully it ended up going through and I never had to explain why a duct-taped banana peel was in the plumbing. My husband and I have been together since high school and there was a rumor he got his penis stuck in a Gatorade bottle. He had to rip it off and thought he broke his penis. His friends would straight on rag on him. I think he confided in one and they told everyone. I never actually believed it, but a couple of years into marriage and he admits it was true. Edit. He was very adamant I clarify it was Gatorade and not Powerade. Edit 2. My highest rated comment by far now is about my husband sticking his penis in a bottle. Thanks everyone. I thought I was home alone. My parents walked in on me and a vacuum cleaner getting acquainted. My dad couldn't stop laughing. My mom was horrified. Later on, It was the most uncomfortable dinner ever. My dad just sat there snickering in between bites of meatloaf, while the only thing my mom said to me the whole time was "Adam, eat." Soon after that, I got the talk from my father. Edit, this got lost, so I'm moving it here for those asking. It created this airtight seal around my dick, but if I lifted the hose just slightly, it let enough air get through that it created a significant amount of vibration, which felt pretty amazing if I remember it correctly. Yes, I did finish in it. It was actually my second go-round within a half hour or so when they caught me. A dent ended up forming in the top of it because it overheated thanks to a lack of airflow. Later, my dad basically told me to stop sexing the appliances and to keep my distance from the wet and dry vac.